Hi again. In this video, I'll give you a brief overview of the history of Kabbalah. You will learn the names of the main people who passed it down through the millennia, and you'll catch the names of some of the books of Kabbalah too. My greatest sorrow is that so many of us Jews do not know the wealth that we have within our own religion. But we are now at the cusp of something very special because Kabbalah is becoming more widely known and is accessible to those of us who know nothing of our own Jewish heritage. In my opinion, Kabbalah is the best of our heritage and has made me realize that I don't need to look anywhere else for the most important and most basic answers to life. The best is in our own backyard and has been there forever. Abraham was the first to be called Ivri, a Hebrew. Aver in Hebrew means side, and the Hebrews were a people who were the others from the other side, basically an outsider. Abraham's the father of the Jewish people, and there is a mystical text that is attributed to him called Sefer Yetzirah, the book of creation or the book of formation. It was quoted as early as the 6th century and is the oldest of all the Kabbalistic texts. There's even reference to it as early as the 1st century. It's an instruction manual describing very specific meditation practices that were meant to help someone develop concentration along with telekinetic and telepathic powers. The Talmud states that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob all studied in the academy of Noah's son and great-grandson, Shem and Eber. Noah's son Shem is where the Jewish people get their name Semites. The word Shem in Hebrew means name. Hashem is the word that's used to refer to God, which literally means the name. The name of God and God's various names have been seen as portals to divinity and used in Jewish meditation and Kabbalah. It is also said that the Kabbalah was received by Moses on Mount Sinai and passed down through Joshua, who was the leader after Moses and the one who conquered the Promised Land. Kabbalah was also known and practiced by the prophets during the First Temple period in the 5th century BCE. The prophet Ezekiel spoke of the chariot, and that was considered Kabbalah too. By the Second Temple period, 400 years later, the men of the Great Assembly, which were 120 men, decided and wrote down in the Talmud that the secrets and the mysteries of Ezekiel were to be kept secret and only passed down to a small group of people. It wasn't until after the temple was destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE that the teachings were written down so that they weren't forgotten after the Romans murdered our 10 holy martyrs, who were the small group who taught the secrets of Kabbalah. Midrash Ela Ezkera lists the following sages as the 10 martyrs. Most of these sages' names are not widely known amongst Jews. Maybe you'll know of the Rabbi Akiva, who was very famous and has been known throughout the millennia. But because of the brutality that the Jewish people experienced due to the Roman exile from the Holy Land, much of their most precious secrets had to go in hiding. There is a legend about one of our greatest sages who was a disciple of the great Rabbi Akiva. His name was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He was known to have lived in a cave, hidden during the Roman massacres for many years, and during the time he was in hiding, he wrote down the secrets of the Kabbalah and authored the book called the Zohar, which is the most famous book of Kabbalah. It wasn't for 1,000 years that Kabbalah could see the light of day because the threats to Judaism were so great due to the anti-Semitism found within the Romans and Christianity. It's no wonder that there's only one Jewish man from the Second Temple era who was focused on by the masses outside of Judaism and who is known worldwide as and called a god. Unfortunately, we had so many other leaders and great sages from that time whose memory has been lost to the great masses of modern day Jews. And I believe that this is because of anti-Semitism. In fact, the Zohar was not even revealed until the 13th century. It stayed in hiding. The Zohar came to life when the Jews were still able to live as Jews before they were expelled from Spain, but they were still under threat of the Crusades. The Zohar was published by one of the leading Kabbalists living in Spain, Rabbi Moshe de Leon. Some believed that the Ramban, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, had sent the Zohar from Israel to Catalonia, and it came into the hands of Rabbi Moshe ben de Leon. Yes, there were always Jews living in Israel, which is a fact that runs counter to the modern day views of the land of Israel. The Kabbalah came to life again in the 1500s in Sfat, Israel, among a group of rabbis who taught it and wrote it down. This group was made of Jews exiled from Spain in 1492 who went to Israel because they felt that the Messiah redemption was imminent. The primary Kabbalistic rabbi in that time was named Isaac Luria. He expounded upon the Zohar, and though he personally never authored a book, his disciple, Chaim Vital, did. Isaac Luria's explanation of the Sefirot and the creation of the universe were widely adopted and called Lurianic Kabbalah. Much of the main concepts of Kabbalah that were taught today come from Isaac Luria. Later, in the 1700s, Kabbalah came to life yet again with the Baal Shem Tov in Eastern Europe. The Baal Shem Tov brought Kabbalah to the masses and into daily living. The Kabbalah that I'm teaching, I learned from people who are among the spiritual descendants of the Baal Shem Tov, called the Hasidim. There are many different strains of Hasidim, all who follow the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov. His name means master of the good name, and of the Kabbalists of his time in the 1700s, they were all called Baal Shem, which means name masters. Remember that I previously said that much of Kabbalah was about mastering the names of God. I will talk more about Hasidism in the next video. I have attached a list and description of the main books of Kabbalah for your reference. These books have remained secret for so much of Jewish history because it's only been in the last 20 to 30 years that they have been even translated. Kabbalah has been a mystery to so many of us, but it's the best of Jewish heritage, and we are so lucky that it was preserved over the millennia through our ancestors' efforts despite the difficult situations Jews have faced. My greatest hope is that you come to understand just how precious and special your Jewish heritage actually is. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next will be an overview of Hasidism.